You know, when I had my son, I used to keep thinking that what if he gets up and I keep sleeping? So that pressure just kept me awake. I used to be irritated and it was my worst time. So yes, I never knew the sleep thing also.
Yeah, and this is not just like we say, hey, you can't handle it or emotionally. There are real changes that are happening in your brain.
What are the first actual identity changes that you as a mother have experienced and gone through? Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Wellness Blueprint, a podcast where we decode everything wellness, health, and recovery. Today, I'm very, very glad to be joined by Harpreeth Suri and Dr. Nivedita. We're going to be talking about an extremely important subject, something that millions of women go through. And we're very excited to sort of be joined by both of these wonderful women here today. Harpreeth is a social media influencer, the voice behind Mom Wears Prada. It's an Instagram channel that inspires women all around the world. She talks about the journey of being a mother, lifestyle, fashion as well, self-discovery, and a lot of other important aspects of day-to-day life that I'm sure that you guys would find extremely beneficial. We're also joined by Dr. Nivedita. She is obviously the head of regenerative wellness here with us at the Wellness Co, and she has some awesome insights to give to you about the journey of becoming a mother or the journey of just becoming a new mother and how that sort of pans out over the next 2 to 3 years or so. So yeah, excited to sort of get into the conversation, and thank you both of you for joining me today. So Harpreet, I'd like to start the day by asking you, what were some of the first changes that you experienced either during your pregnancy or postpartum, and what were some things that you felt like you absolutely weren't warned about?
So, you know, all that we were told about nutrition was desi ghee and drink milk, have dahi, and that's it. I think nutrition that time meant, until today for a lot of us, it means have lot of fatty things, lot of ghee because it'll help the baby pop out. And trust me, that doesn't work. I needed more nutritious food maybe. And leg pain doesn't mean you've got an epidural. Because everybody just says that just because you had an epidural, you have a back pain or a leg pain. Whereas it was my D3, you know, which was screwed up. And I went through injection and treatment, but it was so late. I wish someone told me that I had to exercise and eat like healthy food, which was full of all other nutrients than just fat.
Right.
I struggled there.
Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Nivedita. From a medical perspective, based on what you've heard from her, what would be your comments on something like this? On what people should actually be analyzing based on their earlier symptoms?
Okay, so because you mentioned diet, I think a balanced diet and not just too many fats, as was the old wives' tale, works anyway. So, the baby, so you are making a baby in your body. I don't think fatty acids or fats are the only things that's needed. It should be a well rounded nutrition plan and also exercising depending on what you can and do with an expert's guidance. All the nutrients, calcium, bones, fatty acids, proteins. So you need everything in a balanced diet, not just to take care of you, but the baby as well.
Yes.
And I think one more thing that becomes very important postpartum is I feel like people often feel the pressure of bouncing back quickly. Is that something that you experienced, or was that?
Oh,
How did that work?
yes, with my first one, because all that I had seen, heard, and today also I see it, we just want to come back to our weight, that race to come back. And I was a victim myself. I think I lost the entire weight in 9 months and I felt, wow, like I've achieved it. But what damage I did to my health, I'm paying till today. So I tell everybody now I meet, please let your body recover. You know, your body has given birth. It's a new birth for a woman. But with all this societal pressure, we just want to go back to the weight. There's nothing called healthy weight loss. It is just weight loss. Just drop the weight. So yeah, I had that issue.
Yeah,
Big
that's
time.
tough. So, Dr. Nivita, based on that, I think obviously a very important aspect for our viewers and for new mothers as well, wanting to come back to their weight and wanting to look a certain way as well. What would you say is the right
Healing,
perspective or the
healing
right,
process.
yeah,
How
how
much
should people
time?
go about it? And what's the healthy way to recover from pregnancy and from giving birth?
I would say a once in a lifetime kind of change. It's a biological change, it's a neurological change, it's your social, it's a big social change and a psychological change. All of this made even more challenging with the hormonal volatility that you go through. And you were talking about weight loss. And the weight gain also is actually, and weight loss is affected by your insulin sensitivity. That actually takes a toss after your hormonal volatility that happens after you give birth. And also, by hormonal volatility, I mean your estrogen drops dramatically, your progesterone drops dramatically. Your oxytocin helps you keep afloat somehow, bonding with your baby, and but your cortisol is haywire. It's all over the place, and your hunger hormones, that's why, also are out of control. Ghrelin, leptin, both of them. So how will you control your hunger while you're lactating? And the race to lose weight should not be an imminent or a pressing one while you're lactating. However, healthy movement and exercise should be the way to go. Also, stress management is a big piece of the
I think which no
puzzle.
one even speaks about.
Right.
Stress?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. And because you're sleep deprived, you're waking up with the baby, and even if your baby is sleeping, your brain is now wired to be hyper vigilant. So even if the baby is sleeping, you're already always hoping that they would wake up, and you're in hyper vigilant
You know,
mode.
when I had my son, I used to keep thinking that what if he gets up and I keep sleeping? So that pressure
Yeah.
just kept me awake. I used to be irritated, and it was my worst time, like worst moments, where what happened with me. So yes, I never knew the sleep thing also.
Yeah, and
Oh.
this is not just like we say, hey, you can't handle it, or emotionally. There are real changes that are happening in your brain. So the amygdala, which is the emotional center, actually shows hyperactivity in scans. And also your gray matter of the brain, which associates with empathy and threat detection, that area physically increases in the brain. So what you feel as stress, emotional uh, duress, irritability, identity crisis of sorts is actually rooted in real biologic changes in the brain. So it's not just feelings. Feelings have a real origin and biological cause.
And what I hate the most, men go through nothing.
Yeah, that's a little unfair, I believe. I agree with that. I think while we're on the topic of sleep, that touches a very important aspect of this podcast today as well, is that I feel like we've heard a lot of times from women who've experienced giving birth and experienced pregnancies and things like that, that their brain never really switches off even while they're asleep. I think we touched on that slightly earlier, but if you could give us some more clarity on what it is that you actually experienced, even while you tried to get those 3 to 4 hours of sleep in, what was it like?
A, there's no sleep. And even if there is, there's guilt. There's so much guilt that a mother goes through, because if she's sleeping and if the baby gets up, that clock, if it doesn't match, then it's a little crazy for a mother. She goes through her own nonsense. And then there's postpartum depression, which I went through with my first one. And I had no clue what was going on in my brain. I couldn't think clearly. I couldn't sleep well. I was just up. If my child is sleeping, I'm watching the OTT. And that's all I'm doing, watching movies. And I don't know what was going on in my brain. It was one of those worst 9 months that I went through. And I remember telling my mother-in-law one day that if this is what having a baby means, because I have seen in movies, it's such a celebration. What is this? I'm not sleeping. I was so deprived of everything besides sleep. Everything, there was deprivation in the body. What should we do, doc? What is it? How do I sleep? Because my mind will not switch off. What's the right way?
Okay, so all those changes that I mentioned, hormonal, estrogen dropping, progesterone dropping, cortisol just all over the place, all these changes do happen in a woman's life around menopause also. But at the time of becoming a mother, these changes happen in less than 48 hours. Can you beat that? So it's an upheaval that you have to go through. And that's why you can't get a grip on it, because that change is so rapid and your body and mind does not have time to cope up with it. So it's a challenging time for sure. And also mothers harbor a lot of guilt by themselves, as you say, but they're also culturally brought upon by the families and their caretakers.
It is so
Yeah,
sad. It is so
it is.
sad. I'm so glad you've picked up this topic. Like, I'm so glad a man has brought this topic up. Thank you. Yes, doctor.
Yeah. So your family, I think even like during pregnancy, I think there should be education for the whole family, all caretakers, on all aspects, what they should expect. and what they should not do more than what should they do, because everybody reads about what they should do, but what they should not do. And it is especially challenging for the mother. So everybody has to honor, yes, contribute
That's
and honor.
that's like an ideal world, doc.
Yeah. So, yeah, and but it has to happen. It's a process, and it's not difficult because everybody loves to be part of that celebration. But it takes effort. All good things in life do. So, education through the process and some training to beat our cultural norms, which are not very favorable. That and then, I mean, we'll talk more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There should be a manual.
Manual.
Yeah, there
Yes,
should be.
yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think a perfect segue now would be also understanding how that identity shift happens. Because obviously, until you give birth, you're not a mother, but you are just an individual, most likely taking care of yourself or some family members. But as soon as that new life comes into the picture, what are the first actual identity changes that you as a mother have experienced and gone through?
I remember I used to keep milking. So my child was lactose intolerant. So I could not feed my child the milk. I didn't know about it. I used to force feed my son. Now, someone told us that a very knowledgeable doctor that, I think your child has lactose intolerance. And my household flipped. They said, no, in our family, this doesn't happen. And it was such a...
the medicine to everything.
So we didn't agree. For first 3 months, my son and I went through torture. I used to lock myself in the room and make sure he has my milk. Now, he's not having, so I'm milking. I'm crying. My hair were all over. I didn't want to meet anybody. I felt so disgusted in my body. Until one day, my doctor told me, we need to stop, you milking. Because they were guilty. There was so much going on in the body. Yeah. And that's when I stopped. Again, a very nice, educated doctor came forward and explained, I wished, and this is so basic. My daughter was protein allergic. Oh. So again, milk issue. Right. But this time I was so prepared. So yes, imagine a woman milking, going through so much. World is saying that, she can't even feed her child. It's so sad, again, societal norms. But yeah, that's what I went through. And because I've gone through all of this, I make sure that anybody around me doesn't have to go through this. I make sure that I am available, be it followers, be it friends, because I know how it was for me. It was very depressing, those moments. So when I look back and think about it, I don't want to touch it. It's a little dark side. You know how you feel for yourself.
Absolutely.
And when she was talking about identity, like the question revolving around identity, so women lose the autonomy they once had. Now all they can relate to is the new identity of being a mother, and not just an individual. The mother identity is so all encompassing, so that's a challenge. And also all of the effects that the body is going through, the changes, all of the effects that we talked about are challenging, happen more to women who are high functional women. They become even more reactive. They become more intolerant to stress. So for them, it's even more challenging. Huh? So yeah, I'm sure you must have borne the brunt of it.
There were days I used to be like, why did I do this to myself? We women go through this. We feel, did I do something wrong by having a child? We didn't have you guys that time.
No, I think that's very informative information for all the viewers and for soon-to-be mothers or new mothers. I think we've obviously touched on some of the darker periods and some of the tougher times that new mothers would face. In terms of solutions, so because obviously that's something that you've tackled and you've been through it. As becoming a new mother during those first 9 months or 12 months or so, what were some things that you did to find time for yourself, maybe help yourself get through that a little bit better, and also just work on yourself personally while also taking care of a newborn baby?
First time I did nothing. First time I was just in it.
Right.
Second time I was more prepared. I knew what was coming my way. So there was no postpartum depression. I was ready for the challenge. And you know how it is that when you go to play, you just know when you played enough, you have that experience. I had the experience. What did I do? I did little things that I do it till today. I just switch off. Sometimes I just switch off. I have, over time, learned to read and journal a lot. Journaling is really underrated, I feel. It is so good for brain and heart. And what else? Little things, yeah. I make sure that my nutrition is better. I come to Wellness Go so often. This is a slow change, but it is a big change towards my health journeys. Stuff like that. I look after myself now,
Yeah.
as I say.
That's good. That's what's important. I think that's what's needed as well for everyone watching. Dr. Nivedita, from a science perspective, if there were a few things you could recommend new women new mothers to try out during those first few months, the tough months of bringing up a child, what would be some things that you would recommend from a scientific perspective that they should try out to maybe get through that journey a little easier?
Yes, there's so much more now. Tell us if I plan the third one.
Oh my gosh, you're brave. So, postpartum depression-like symptoms can happen to everybody, and the more high functional and independent you are, the more prone you are to developing those. But in about a week or two, these symptoms should start feeling easier to handle. But if they don't, if tearfulness and a lack of bonding or attachment to the baby, they do not get better by 2 weeks, you should see a medical professional. Yes, and seek therapy. Uh, and the family should be educated about the possibility for sure. There should not be any hesitation in seeking help. Also, sleep and sleep hygiene is one of the most essential things that you have to do in this period. You have to clock your sleep and train yourself to sleep when your baby sleeps, and you can switch off your lights, like and use dim lights after 7 p.m. so that you have a better circadian rhythm, which also goes for a toss with your thyroid also kind of acting up during that period. So, sleep, I think, is one thing, sleep and stress, that you should first focus on handling. And for that, you can take help of, because you cannot bank on substances that much because you'll be lactating. So, then you can look at red light therapy, actually, that can help you sleep better. Hyperbaric oxygen that can help you unwind and get your brain the required de-stressing nudge that it needs. Also, nutrition is an important part of how we feel overall. Even the brain or psychological feelings and everything is attached with the biochemistry. So test yourself where you stand on your nutritional count. And if there is something missing, under the supervision of your doctors, you can opt to get IVs for quick recovery, because you go through a lot.
They're my favorite these days, by the way.
And you go through a lot in a very short amount of time. So it's important that we bring you up back quickly enough as well. So these therapies come in handy while you're trying to manage this tough ordeal.
There's one more thing I did.
Yeah.
Seek support. That's something when you were saying, I realized that it's so important to seek support. Tell someone to take care of your baby. I need to sleep. Yeah.
So, Harpreeth, one more question that I wanted to ask you is from the perspective of a man, if you have a wife in your life, for example, who is pregnant, going through, about to give birth, what is it that we could do? And how is it that we could support?
Can someone pinch me? A man has asked me this. Whoa. It is as easy. Just listen to us and just ask us, are we okay? It's as easy. That's what any wife or human wants. We all want to be heard. Just ask her, is she doing okay? Just hold her hand. That's it. It's so simple, but we forget it, in daily lives. That's it. You'll be a perfect husband, 10 on 10.
Thank you so much, and thank you to our viewers for joining in. I hope you got a lot of insight out of this, and thank you to both of you for being a part of this wonderful conversation. And look forward to having you on further podcasts very soon.
Absolutely. Yeah.